What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Sports Planet podcast. I'm joined once again by Daniel. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Brandon?
Not too bad, not too bad. But I'm just realizing for the first time we're on episode 6 finally, and I've never formally introduced myself. So I don't know why it just came to me right now. So obviously it's episode 6. If you guys don't know by now, I'm the host of the Sports Planet podcast, Brandon Zamora. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you, Daniel, for taking time out of your day to come onto the show once again.
Of course, anytime.
Appreciate it. So today's episode, we're talking about the Lakers, NBA playoff standings, and a couple of other things that have been going on around the association. So we'll just get right to it. Lakers, man, we're coming down the stretch. As of today, Wednesday, they're playing a game against the Suns. And after today, they only have 9 games left in the season, and every game is critical, like I've said before. LeBron's supposed to be reevaluated again tomorrow. I don't know how much they're going to get out of it, but we'll see. Hopefully they get some good diagnosis. That way he returns sooner than later. That way he can get ready for play a couple games at the end of the season to get ready for a potential playoff run. But I just wanted to start off with as a Laker fan, we saw last week some of the games that the Lakers really needed and that they should have been wins. They just slipped through their hands, man. Like last Wednesday, they played against the Rockets, one of the worst teams in the NBA. Don't get me wrong, they're a good young team, but they have a terrible record right now. So that should have been not an easy game, but that should have been a winning game that the Lakers should have won. But like many analysts predicted, it was a trap game. So many teams just look over these lower standing teams. And the Lakers, like a couple of days before that, I want to say the Celtics also fell into the trap game against the Rockets. And then what do you know? Lakers do the same as well. So what were your thoughts after that trap game, against the Rockets, thinking like we should be able to win this, but that loss ended up being something very crucial in terms of not only the loss itself, but in terms of the standings?
I think this goes to show how the Lakers don't really respect teams with a worse record because in their minds, they think AD could sit out and we could still beat this team without our second best player. And as that goes to show, it didn't work out. They're the second worst team in the league behind the Pistons. Game that we should be able to win even without AD. And they're just playing down to their competition. And a game, if AD's there, I believe we win with ease. And that brings me back to another thing that was very disappointing because I know we heard around the league that AD wasn't playing due to back-to-back and doctor suggestion. I feel like at the end of the day, if AD wants to play the basketball game and he's pain-free, he wants to play. He should play. Like there's no, doctor suggested this. If you're pain-free, not injured, and the doctor says, maybe you should sit out back-to-back, and you're AD and you want to make playoffs, be like, nah, I'm pain-free, I'm playing.
Definitely.
That brought me to a point where I'm just like, I would never see someone sit out a game that's a must-win because it's a back-to-back, but he's absolutely pain-free. Didn't fight back, could have done like a minutes restriction, could have some type of compromise.
Yeah,
I felt like
definitely.
in my mind, I'm just like, AD was told, you can't play, and AD's like, all right, sounds good. Like, I feel like there's no pushback. That's how I feel like it went down because I'm like, at the end of the day, you should be playing. You have the final say. You're the star of this team when LeBron's not there. If you want to play, you fucking play. And he did it. And that was disappointing to see.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying because it's all like every game is crucial. And like you're saying, if he's not hurt, I don't care what the hell the doctor says. Like, I think we're just, as Laker fans, we got accustomed to Kobe going out there, even when he was injured. Like, it was something that wasn't good for his career, obviously, long term. But he always thought of not only the fans, like, what if this is the one game that kid or that person came to spend all their money that they saved up for. But he also realized the importance of every game going down the stretch. We saw that in the 2012-2013 season. Obviously, Kobe, that was when he got the nickname Vino. He was playing, I want to say he was averaging like 47 and a half minutes per game, which is insane because there's only 48 minutes in a game. So the fact he was only sitting for maybe 30 seconds to a minute total is just crazy to think. But I think us as Laker fans, that's why we're more annoyed because like Obviously, now you have the science, like analytics, science, whatever you want to say, behind why a player should sit for the longevity of their career. But damn it, man, we're the Lakers. Like we're this is the Laker franchise. We want to see not just making it to the playoffs. We want to see championships, but obviously to win a championship, you have to make it to the playoffs. And when you have players sitting out when they're fully healthy, and I'm not going to say fully healthy, but they're healthy enough to play, it's kind of bullshit, because it's all like, we're in the 11th seed right now. If they would have won that game, and then not only that game, but the game after on Friday against the Mavericks, we'll get to that in a bit. Those 2 games that they lost, that was the difference between being an 11th seed and a 6th seed. So that just shows how important this every game is down the stretch, because between 4th seed and 12th seed in the Western Conference, there's only a 3.5 game difference. And that is nothing, but obviously that seems larger and larger as we go down the stretch, because every game matters even more and more. So if we win out and the other team loses out, like that's the only way at this point, Mm-hmm. So, man, like I get it, AD. It's not like whatever, you've had your health concerns, but like you need like how you were saying, he needs to have some of that pushback, because Kobe would have been like, nah, fuck you. I don't care what you're saying. I'm going to play. We need this game. And then, like we saw, that obviously ultimately led to him rupturing his Achilles. And, man, I'm not saying I want to see AD push himself to that point, but I'm just saying you're healthy enough. I understand. If this was at the beginning of the season, okay, yeah, sit out your back-to-backs. But this is at the end of the season when we need you. LeBron is already out. So we need you to be there and step up, because we've seen him doing pretty well. He's been performing pretty well as the number 1 guy. But obviously recently he's been missing a lot of free throws, a lot of crucial defensive breakdowns. But yeah, man, anything else you want to say about that before we move on to the next game?
I mean, I guess we were spoiled as Laker fans with Kobe playing through injuries, but I feel like the main point to remember is he stated he's pain free. So he's not playing with an injury. He's just sitting out a back-to-back to prevent injuries, which is literally just, I can't wrap my head around it when you're like, okay, maybe we're the 1st seed, 2nd seed, we don't care about the game. But when every game matters, you're pain free, you play. It's like, it should be that simple. It should be oh, doctor says you might get hurt back-to-back. And all his injuries have never been in a back-to-back game. So it's like, I know there's science like, oh, your body's like wear and tear. You need to save it for those back-to-backs. But not when we're in playoff contention, not when you're supposed to be the guy, not when LeBron says, oh, we want AD to be our guy, and you can't even be there when we need you. And once again, that goes to show we're playing against the Houston Rockets. They think, oh, AD could just sit out. We don't need him to win this game. Every team in the league should be respected, and that's why Rockets have 18 wins, because 18 teams didn't respect them when they played them, and that's how they got those wins. And we're one of those wins that we gave to the Rockets. So just disappointing. AD did some other stuff in the Mavs game. I don't know if we want to get into that or you want to say that till later.
No, we can get into that right now. Yeah, that Mavs game, man. I was there in attendance. I saw the whole debacle go down in person, and I was like, dude, because they started off the game pretty well, and then towards the middle of it, the Mavericks came back, took a pretty decent sized lead, and then I want to say going into the 4th quarter, the Lakers were down about 9, but something about their little run at the end of the 3rd quarter made you feel like, okay, I think we have a chance. And then obviously, what do we see? The Lakers come roaring back. And then they're up by, I wanted to say they were up by 4 or something, by with under 20 seconds left, and having the ball in, they had the possession. And then Maxi Kleber has a wide open 3, and then he got fouled by AD on a terrible closeout. So unlike the Lakers, Maxi Kleber was actually able to knock down his free throws. After that, the Lakers go down the other side of the court. AD gets fouled, and then I want to say he misses one out of his 2 free throws, right? They're up 2 points, right? So that's strike 2 essentially at that point, because AD not he doesn't close out on Kleba properly, giving him those 3 free throws, makes all 3. Strike 2, you get fouled, and then you miss 1 out of 2 in a crucial spot. Instead of making it a 3-point game, it's only a 2-point game. And then what happens on the other side of the court? All right, whatever. Lakers defended the ball pretty well, and then Mavericks have to call a timeout. They come back, and then they still have having to inbound the ball. But on the second try after the timeout, you have Kyrie getting doubled on the right side of the court, and then AD, for some reason, Kyrie's already doubled. And then AD somehow gets like sucked in more into the paint. And then once Kyrie saw that, he just swings it to the wing to Maxi Kleber for a wide open 3. And all you see is AD be like, oh shit, I left him wide open. And then what does he do? He tries closing out on him. It doesn't matter. He got there way too late. Maxi Kleber had a wide open 3, and the Mavericks won by 1. So I just remember being in there and I was like, bruh, what just happened? That was a game the Lakers should have won, Like, sure, they played bad, but they had stormed back. They had taken the lead. They had a 4-point lead with under 20 seconds and possession, and they still somehow lose. What was your thoughts of the Mavericks game?
One, I'm super mad that they lost when you go see them for your birthday. Like, number one, that's just fucking wrong. You go, Sports Play, the podcast host, comes on his birthday to watch the Lakers win, and they blow it. So that right there makes me mad. But besides that, I want to point also to another play before that where we're up. I think we're up by 4 before AD fouled what's his name? Kleba for 3. He had he was double teamed early in the shot clock, and he does like just a fadeaway right before the 3-point line with like 10 seconds left in the shot clock. And in my mind, I'm like, one, we're up right now, so you want to make sure you at least get a good shot, or you're at least wasting almost all the shot clock because you got to play with the clock on your side if you're up.
Yep.
So that was the first play. I was just like, all right, he's taking a turnaround shot, double teamed early in the shot clock when we're up by 4. Then of course he fouls Kleba for the 3-point. He closes out on his like left side, and he's a left-handed shooter, I believe. So you're supposed to close out on right side, or is it?
I think he's a right-handed shooter, but he just fouled him. He closed out. He closed out bad.
It was like fucking tackled him, to be honest. I was watching. I was like, dude, what kind of shit was that? And the funny part is, he missed the shot and he hits him after. So the shot was missed.
Even he just got there too late, and he still somehow hit him.
Late. Yeah. So after that, and then I was just like, all right, already that I was like, this is ridiculous. Then missing free throws. He's shooting like 50% in the clutch from free throws the past few games. Ridiculous. And then the just defensive just missing his defensive mark when, like you said, Kyrie was double teamed. No reason for him to leave anywhere. Just stay on his man. The guy's already double teamed. You're telling me you're going to triple team Kyrie? Just fucking leave the double team. And I mean, after the game, he did say, "Oh yeah, like that's the last plays on my fault." I'm like, the last 4 plays before that are your fault too. Like, it goes to show, like, AD. I feel like he really can't be the number one option. And when we first signed him, I will say we had LeBron and AD. I was like, all right, LeBron's going to pass the torch. AD's going to carry our team until we get like another star behind him. And now I'm just realizing that AD can't be the number one guy on the team. He's not on the level of Giannis, not on the level of Jokic, Embiid. He just doesn't seem to be. He's just not that guy. He's a great, amazing all-star caliber player, but he just doesn't seem to be the number one option. He has these defensive lapses, costing games, not playing games he should be, not being assertive and aggressive in games, and it's just pretty sad to see. And not to be AD bashing, but this is 2 games in a row where I felt like he is a main contributor to our loss in those games. And and also what makes me be more hard on him is because I know how good of a player he is.
Exactly.
When you see him. Like, he could literally be the best player in the league if he had the right mindset. But he just doesn't. It's sad to see when you know someone could be that good. Like, Giannis out here shining, Embiid's out here shining. I feel like AD has more in his bag than both of those players. He's just not aggressive. He's not assertive. And that's what sets them apart as the great bigs of the game, and how AD's not that great of a big anymore.
No, yeah, definitely. Because like how you were saying, like that's what I was going to say, but then you mentioned it. He has all the tools to be a number one, right? We saw him in 2020 being fucking AD, and the D stands for dominant, like he was
Yes.
unstoppable. But it's at the end of the day, it comes down to the mindset. Like, I feel like we've been seeing LeBron trying to pass the torch. I feel like every offseason, it's all like, all right, if we're going to do something, AD's got to take over. This is AD's team. It has to be AD's team. And like AD, just like, nah, you're Bron. You're the best player. Like, I'm gonna let you cook and then I'll get mine. But it's all like, nah, bro. Like AD, you are the best. Like, you should be the best player on the court. You have a great mid range. You have a good 3-point shot. You're an amazing defender. And it's all like, but recently it's just been like little blunders here and there, and it's all like, and then it comes down to like the mentality. It's all like how you said, the last 2 games have been on him, even though he didn't play that Rockets game. That's still kind of on him because he should have been playing, considering he was healthy. So that's an easy win if he's in. And then the Mavericks game, it's all like, bro, come on, like, you messed up down the stretch 3 times in a row. And it's all like, we need you to be AD. Like, we don't need you to be 2020 AD. We just need you to be consistent enough to the point where you are our number one option, whether LeBron is playing or not. So, like you said, I think that's the only thing that really separates him from, like, Giannis. Because, like, I remember, like, when we got him, whatever, even probably 2021, I'd be like, nah, AD is better than Giannis. AD is better than Embiid. But recently, like, obviously Giannis got his chip in 2021, whatever. But recently, like, I think that injuries are just somehow getting to AD's head. He's scared to get injured, I want to say. But I don't know, man. It just all comes down to a mentality. And AD's all like, you have the tools, man. He's just not living up to his potential. And that's like how you were saying earlier. It's like, it just sucks because he has all that potential, but he just too scared to get injured again because he just been really hurt since that 2020 season. Or not 2020, sorry. 2021 season after, like, he got injured in the playoffs. The last couple seasons, he's just been off and on and off the court. So, I don't know, man, but they got the win against the Magic the game after. After seeing those last 2 games, you're like, you honestly don't know which Laker team's going to show up. If it's going to be the team where we were over here like, oh, yes, dude, this team plays with so much energy, or if it's going to be the team that doesn't respect their opponent like how they did with the Rockets. And, yeah, but as of right now, like I said earlier, we're recording this. The Lakers are playing against the Suns. As of this moment right now, they're up by 9 with about a little under 4 minutes to go in the game. So hopefully they're able to pull this one out because, like I said earlier, every game is crucial. They're only a 3.5 game difference between 4th and 12th seeds. So if the Lakers were to win this game, they'd be 36 and 37, and that would have them tied with the Mavericks at 9th seed. But I want to say that the Mavericks own the tiebreaker because they did win the series, the season series 3-1, and that's where that Mavericks game comes into play again. Because it's if it would have been 2-2 tiebreaker, it comes down to I think it's head-to-head win-loss percentage. No, division leader. I don't know. There's some tiebreakers going on after that season series. But that game is going to be the reason, or could be the reason, why the Lakers don't make the playoffs. Because if the Mavericks finish 10th and if the Mavericks finish 10th and we're tied with them, that means we're going to finish 11th because they have the tiebreaker. So it's annoying. I don't know. What do you have to say? Anything else you have to say?
I don't know if you want to talk about this, but I was going to say, what do you think is the future looking like for the Lakers next year roster?
Man, I don't know. All I see the rumors of the Lakers obviously want to re-sign D'Lo. I'm all for it. But also, Kyrie's going to be out there. You know how LeBron is. Like, even though he seems to be loving D'Lo, but Kyrie's his guy. So is that going to create tension? That's also something I don't want to see either. Because, like, if the Lakers are going to say, we're going to sign D'Lo, we're going to re-sign him, they have to get LeBron and, like, AD on, like, not to give their stamp of approval for it, but to not be going out there and be like, oh, Kyrie, come to LA. Kyrie, come to LA. Because then D'Lo's going to see that, And the Lakers are obviously going to listen to LeBron, and they're going to be like, okay, maybe we should see if we can sign Kyrie. And maybe by the time Kyrie, let's just say Kyrie doesn't want to come to the Lakers, by that time it might be too late because D'Lo's going to be like, nah, you guys didn't never want me back, so I want to go sign with another team. So now not only we lost out on Kyrie, we lost out on D'Lo too. So they need to have a plan going into the season because, yeah, man, there's some contracts coming up soon. I don't know. What do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, for right now, Lakers, what I see like their projected roster for next year, there's only a few people on contract, so probably all heard if we get Kyrie, we can't really have depth, or we're just going to be searching for depth. So it's either Kyrie, LeBron, and AD and no depth, or Kyrie, D'Lo, and AD and depth. So it's kind of pick your poison because who wouldn't want to love to have Kyrie, LeBron, and AD on the same team? But then you got to find some pieces to fill in and get some pieces around it, which might be hard. So, I mean, I'm leaning more towards depth because, as we all seen, the three stars on the same team has not worked. So it's always been 2 stars and quality role players that have basically been winning the championships almost all the time. You saw with almost all the championships in the past like 10, 15 years. It's 2 stars and just quality role players and maybe another like all-star level caliber player. So, and also Kyrie kind of brings a little bit of unpredictableness to the locker room. So don't know if it's the best move, but I will say I like D'Lo. He just needs to be a little bit more on the consistent end, but he is still new to the team, so he's probably still getting the chemistry. So I'm sure next year he'll be a lot more in a better flow, be a lot more consistent. The only people we have on our roster next year is LeBron, AD, Beasley, Bamba, Vanderbilt, Reed, and Max Christie. So I'm thinking the 2 players that they're looking to sign more than anyone is Reeves and D'Lo. Those are probably top 2 that we want to bring back. It's looking like, I don't know if you saw Rui's most likely, I will say he's probably going to be gone because Lakers said they're not offering him over $10 million. He's for sure going to be offered more than $10 million somewhere else. So he's gone. Lonnie Walker is going to be offered a decent contract because we're not going to offer him how much he's worth. He's not even in the rotation right now. So he's gone. And then that leaves what players left? Wenyen Gabriel, Troy Brown, and Schroeder. Do you think we sign those players? What do you think?
I mean, I feel like at this point, those players are willing to take the minimums, I guess, and if not minimum, at least somewhere in the lower range. Because like how you were mentioning earlier, if we get Kyrie, we need to go shopping for those old ass veterans, taking those 1-year minimums, trying to ring chase, and like I'm done with that honestly. Because like if you would have told me before this, like not before this season, but before they made the D'Lo trade, if it was still the same team pre trade deadline, I would have been all in for Kyrie, right? But the fact that we have D'Lo, he seems like he wants to stay here. Looks like the Lakers want to keep him. I'm all for getting more depth than anything because we've seen that this team, like obviously LeBron's been out for the past couple of weeks, but with this team we've seen some chemistry there. So I kind of want them to run it back because, like we saw in 2020, that team. Was really their chemistry was through the roof, you know, because it's one thing to have stars, it's a good thing to have decent role players and all that, but they all have to mesh properly, right? And obviously they like with Kobe's death kind of also brought them together because they were already close, but that Kobe's death kind of like brought them even closer, and they gave them all a common goal of like, let's do it for Kobe. And they all bought in this and that, whatever. They obviously win the championship. I don't care if it was in the bubble, Mickey Mouse ring this, Mickey Mouse ring that. I don't give a damn. Why didn't your team win it then, huh? But whatever. And then we saw it in 2021 where that they kind of brought, I think it was, want to say, the majority of the team back, if not everyone, right? But like obviously there was a couple different pieces, but the majority of the team was consistent. We had a lot of depth. And we were only an AD injury away from beating the Suns. We got in as a 7 seed. We were up 2-1. And in Game 4, it looked like we were rolling, right? And then AD injures his hamstring, I want to say. And that kind of just ruined the whole momentum. And then obviously the Lakers end up losing in 6. but still, like I think they should have stayed. They should have kept that team because obviously in that trade for Westbrook, they get Westbrook back, but they traded away Kuzma, they traded away KCP, Trez, like some quality role players.
Yeah,
so now
Caruso walk too.
Oh yeah, Caruso had to walk because they chose THT over him. But that trade really opened my eyes to, man, forget the third star. Like I'd rather have depth. So now that you're asking me, I hope they sign. I mean, I love Wenyen Gabriel. I love his energy, the passion he plays with. At the beginning of the season, I was ready to bench him, to cut him, because he just, like, at the beginning of the season, he was just playing too fast for his own good. So he would, like, like how, like, they always say, keep your eye on the ball, this and that. Like, this man knew what he was going to do, but he would do it without the ball because he'd get too excited, this and that. So, but, like, recently we've seen him start earning more of Coach Ham's trust, and he's playing a lot of minutes now, Sometimes, I think recently he's even been playing down the stretch, like in the final 5 minutes or so. So I've seen him really improve a lot this season, and so I hope he's someone that we can bring back too, because like I said, he brings a lot of energy on both sides of the floor, not just the defense. So anything that they can do to keep the core of these players, as much as I'd love to keep Lonnie, like you said, I don't think he'll be back just because he's fallen out of the rotation, and that kind of sucks because like Lonnie went from a starter. Everybody, we were all not hyping him up, but we were all like excited for him, calling him Skywalker, even with his dunks and everything. And then after the trade deadline, we got a lot of wing players, and now they're going with more size and more trying to spread the floor, more defensive-minded players. So he's kind of fallen out of the rotation. But as long as we can keep them like a decent amount of them, I'll be fine with that because, obviously not every team's going to stay the same year to year. At least a couple of the players are going to leave. But if we can keep, let's just say, Braun, AD, D'Lo, I really want Reeves back because of how we saw him play against the Magic. He scored, 35, 36, a career high. And it's like he's been getting MVP chance, man. He's like not even AD was getting MVP chance. Like, and AD's like their star player, right? But Reeves has been capturing the crowd, MVP every time he's at the free throw line. So if there's any player that I really want back, I would say it'd have to be Reeves and probably Wenyen Gabriel because they both bring so much energy. And Reeves has really been – he's not that off-ball – he's not an off-ball shooter anymore. He's someone that can create for others. And like we saw like in that one play where he throws it behind the back to, I want to say, D'Lo, and then D'Lo, instead of going up for the layup, he was like, no, let me make one extra pass. And then Schroeder's wide open for the three, and it's like the crowd just goes crazy. That was like a little bit of showtime in it, just like so I don't know. What do you
could tell Reeves wants to win when he plays. Like definitely. You could tell like he's giving it 100%. He's very smart, and every time he talks about how he's like learning so much from LeBron, and I feel like he actually wants to get better, and he's trying to learn from the people above him, and it's showing on the court. At first, when we had him last year, he wasn't a good 3-point shooter, good defensively, and then this year you could tell he put in so much work in the offseason, has improved tremendously. And honestly, D'Lo and Reeves are the people I hope we retain because I'm for depth. Lonnie and Rui looks like they're going to be offered more money. I know we're not going to match it, so wherever they go, hope they have the best. Wenyen Gabriel, I love. He's just like an energizer bunny. He's always giving you 100%. Even sometimes he'll do like dumbass mistakes. You just know he's giving it his all because he wants to be in this league. He wants to earn as much minutes. I do not see us signing Schroeder just because I feel like he's had a good year and he's going to get offered a good contract, and I don't think we're going to be able to match that contract money-wise. I hope we keep him. I really do. Maybe he takes less and stays with us, but he's played great this year. Like throughout the whole year when he started, come off the bench, like he's played great. So I don't think we'll keep him, but if we are able to, that's fine. Troy Brown, I could care less. I'm not a Troy Brown fan. He plays way too many minutes for the amount of production he puts out. I think he's a good role player that could play 15 minutes a game, but sometimes he'd be playing 35 minutes a game, and I do not think he produces nearly enough to play that many minutes. Like at one point he was playing the most minutes on our team and almost had like the least amount of production for all the minutes he's playing. And I'm just like, why does this guy keep playing? But I mean, he's a young player. He has length. He's improving the three. I think they could re-sign him for cheap as long as they just maybe don't give him so many minutes. But I'm not the coach, but that's just from my eyes. But other than that, I'm all for depth. I'm all for us keeping the core, not going for that third star because we got to just follow what history tells us, and history tells us 2 stars and role players. So I think and next year might be our last run at it with LeBron and AD. Remember that, because they're both player options in the 24-25 season. So who knows? AD or LeBron could both opt out of their contracts, become free agents in 24 and 25. We have no clue. So next year could be our final year with LeBron and AD. So we got to make a couple moves this offseason, get some quality shooters because we're going to be losing a few people, maybe pick up another couple more 3-and-D players. And like I said, you need those 3-and-D players. And the way we're going to win is if we stay healthy, have the chemistry, we're good to go. You need luck to win a championship, and we got to have luck on our side to stay healthy. So we'll see what next year brings. But this year we still got a chance, so got to stay optimistic.
Yeah, you definitely need luck to win a championship. Like, obviously, talent and everything, but sometimes you just need the ball to roll your way, like we saw in 2019 when how many times did the Kawhi's jumper against the 76ers whirl around the basket, before going in? And then, but yeah, like, I don't know, like Shooter, I could see him coming back like on a mid-level exemption, like about $5 to $6 million per year. Because obviously he turned down the $84 million like a couple seasons ago. Worst mistake he's ever made. Definitely. He went from making $84 million a year. I mean, not a year, sorry, 84 over 4 years to 2.6 this year. So it's not like that could have been easily 22 or 21 around there,
That's when being greedy and betting on yourself doesn't work out.
He bet on himself, and then he didn't play well in that 2021 playoffs. But yeah, like how you were mentioning LeBron and AD's contract, I obviously any player that has a player option usually opts out unless they know they're not going to get that money later on. LeBron will get his money wherever he goes. We've seen him still playing at a high level. I think any team will still pay AD the max because they know what he can bring. But that's just crazy to think how you mentioned it. And now that you brought it up, it's like, because, okay, Bronny Jr. is a senior this year in high school. That means if all goes well next year, last I saw, he was projected to be a top 10 pick. And so if all goes well, that actually comes out to play. Who's to say LeBron doesn't leave? Who doesn't exercise his player option and leaves to go wherever Bronny gets drafted, Because we see it in common now. It's one and done. But who knows? I'm sure I don't want to say I'm sure. But I'm just saying if Bronny does go the one and done route, LeBron can easily be like, thank you, Lakers, for everything. But I'm going to go play with my son now. And LeBron still has a lot of good years in him. So I wouldn't rule that out. But I could see – I hope it's not next year isn't the last year, because if we can have AD, LeBron, and D'Lo, and like a good amount of the core of our role players come back, I think we could really make some noise. Because, like I said earlier, it's only 3.5 games difference between the 4th and the 12th seed. And how many games have the Lakers not only lost on their own, or games where refs have really messed them up? Like there's been, and then like that 2-10 start, there's been a lot of games where the Lakers blown themselves, at least 5 games. And then there's been games where the refs have blown it for them, another 5, let's say. But obviously not everything goes your way. But that's about 10 games where the Lakers can easily go from being 11th seed right now to 3rd or 4th seed,
Yeah, to the 2nd, actually.
Oh, yeah, with John Moran, yeah. Exactly. But I'm just saying, like, not all of them, but I'm just saying, like, a couple, like, a good amount of them.
Yeah.
So, man, I don't know. That's just crazy. But anything else you have to say before we move on?
Lakers won.
Oh, yeah. Lakers won against the Sun. They're now 36 and 37. So we're tied with The Dallas Mavericks. And like I said earlier, the Mavericks have the tiebreaker on us. They're also 36th and 37th. But they're the 9th seed, so that means the Lakers, if it hasn't updated yet, but it should be, the Lakers are in the 10th seed now. Mm-hmm. And the Mavericks are a team, now that we're moving on, the Mavericks are a team that obviously they had some bad luck today also. Mm-hmm. I don't know, this play was really weird to watch, okay? But I don't know if you've seen it yet or not. But I'm going to show you right now. And just give me your reaction to it.
There's no Maverick defenders. Looney's like, hey, thank you very much. I've never seen. There's no Maverick defender. Looney's like,
okay.
Hey, thank you very much.
Okay, you saw that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this play is this game. The Mavericks end up losing this game by 2 points to the Golden State Warriors. They just gave up a 2-point basket easily coming out of a timeout. But it's deeper than that. So according to Mark Cuban, he had this to say. For those wondering about the play with 1 minute and 54 seconds to go in the third, let me explain what happened. The ref called Mavs ball. The announcer announced it. Then there was a timeout. During the timeout, which is what we just saw right now, they're inbounding the ball out of the timeout. So during the timeout, the official changed the call and never told us. Then when they saw us line up as if it were our ball, he just gave the ball to the Warriors. Never said a word to us. They got an easy basketball. I think he meant easy basket. Crazy that it would matter in a 2-point game. Worst officiating non-call mistake possibly in the history of the NBA. All they had to do was tell us, and they didn't. So that happened, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't know, man. Like, I also saw another video where the refs signaled Warrior ball, right? But right after that, they pointed towards the Mavericks bench to signal that they were calling a timeout. So that I could see that possibly being a reason why they were like, "Oh no, they said Maverick ball." But if you guys called a timeout, and then they were just pointing at you guys, but they initially pointed at the Warriors. But still, the fact that it's all like, if you thought it was your ball, right? Mm-hmm. If you thought you were taking it out, why was no one down there to take out the ball?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
the refs wouldn't just start the game saying like, "Oh, they're not ready? Okay, never mind. Hurry up." Like this is because they always give like a little like 5 seconds, 20 seconds, however long of a warning it is to like get on the court. Mm-hmm. So why was no one down there to inbound the ball at all? Like everybody, you're telling me that it's your ball, but nobody's down there to inbound it? Like, I don't know, man. But I also don't want to like say Mark Cuban's wrong, because we've seen the officiating be pretty bad this year, especially against the Lakers also, but whatever. So I guess we're seeing it around the whole league at this point. So now that you've seen the play, what do you think?
Same thing as you. Like, if it's supposed to be Mavs ball, I was just curious why no one's on that side of the court. The play is still very confusing to me. I gotta rewatch it because it literally just happened recently. So I'm not sure where the miscommunication was. If they did call Mavs ball and then they changed the call and didn't tell the Mavs, then that's obviously on the refs. But at the end of the day, I have no clues. I'm not on the court. I'm not sure. But I will say I am anti-NBA refs. I'm not a fan. Yeah. I think they ruin the game more than any other sport in the world. It's literally NBA refs. So if it's going against the refs, I'm on Mark Cuban's side, just because the officiating in the NBA has gone downhill in the past, I want to say 5-7 years, and it's just making games so like hard to watch now. And refs think people pay to see them, like no one cares.
No,
and they all have their little egos. They kicking people out for clapping their hands or just putting their hands in the air. And I will say reffing is something that load management and reffing are two things that Adam Silver needs to work on in the NBA. I know it's besides the point, but that's kind of what I kind of took from it. I'm on Mark Cuban's side. Even if the refs were in the right, I'm on his side because they've been in the wrong so many times. They need to be held accountable for at least something. Like, I need to see something. Like, even if this was the right thing or it was just a miscommunication, I'm glad that someone's at least going against the refs because they've been atrocious these past years, and it's getting hard to watch.
And then you see Luka at the end, like, saying that they were bribed or something. I was like, all right, so Mark Cuban's about to get fined. Luka about to get fined. Everybody going to get fined, And it's just weird because, like I'll get back to the Mavericks game just real quick, though. Going to your point about the refs. Yesterday, Tuesday, we saw, I don't know if you saw in the Clipper game, the ref gave 3 technicals in a span of like 5 seconds. Kawhi got mad because he thought he got fouled driving to the basket. All right, every
Not
player
thought.
gets.
He did get fouled. They were grabbing his left arm.
Okay, yes, Kawhi got fouled, right? And obviously, any player that thinks they got fouled are going to tell something to the ref. The ref gives him a tech, and it's like, what? Like, bro, like, if you own up, like, that's the thing. If they were to give bad calls and they let the players go on and babble, like, not yell at them, but like, like tell them like, no, you missed this, whatever. That's fine. Like, you missed your call. All right, whatever. We don't care. But what makes it worse is that they tee up the players for showing some emotion, for showing them that they missed it, like missed an obvious call, like Patrick Beverley showing the ref the camera is like, that's a foul. They gave him a T for that. Like, their emotions, like they get so sensitive and they get mad when someone calls them out for their incorrect calls, and it's all like, bro, just own up to it. Be like, yeah, I know, I'm sorry, I missed it, whatever. Be like, I'm not saying give them a makeup call. I'm just saying own up to your calls and whatever. But then on that same play, you see Trey Mann get teed up twice and ejected, and it's like how you were saying, the fans aren't here to see you, refs. They're here to see the players that you're teeing up and throwing out of the games. So it's like, it's kind of bullshit. It's like when someone spends their hard-earned money coming to see a game, and then the ref gets too emotional, gets booty tickled, and it's like, oh, you hurt my feelings, hit the showers. Like, that type of shit. So I'm all like, man, that's bullshit. But like, getting back to the Mavericks game, like how I was saying, that is something that could really hurt their playoffs, like their seeding-wise. As a Laker fan, I don't care, because if it helps us get into the playoffs, whatever, let's do it. But to your point, I'm annoyed too as a basketball fan, knowing that the refs are dictating who or who doesn't get into the playoffs. So that call right there could easily be the reason why the Mavericks don't make it to the playoffs later on. Obviously, there's more than one game in the season, but when it comes down to it, nobody cares about what happened at the beginning of the season, whatever. They're always going to look at what happened at the very end, whether it's a championship game, playoff game, whatever. It's never about the first 47 minutes. It's about what happened in the final play or whatever. So, and then like going into this game, the last time, Mark Cuban also it's been reported that he's going to protest the game. So the last time an NBA game was successfully protested was in 2008. And at that point, the Miami Heat won their protest in a game against the Atlanta Hawks, and the final 51.9 seconds of OT were replayed. So honestly, like, I guess if Mark Cuban wins, they're going to just replay it from that point. But the way everything was set up and all that, like, sure, Mark Cuban can say this and that, but I don't see him winning this. So what do you think? I don't see him winning this protest.
Yeah, I don't see him winning because, I don't know. Like we said, I don't feel like there's enough evidence to show that what he's saying is completely, like, 100% accurate. And the league's going to have the refs back because that's just what they've done all these years. Even with all this horrible ref, and they still, like, had their back and not make any changes. So, yeah, I don't see him winning it either.
Yeah, man, but going from one team that's trying to avoid the play-in to someone who doesn't need to worry about the play-in, the Charlotte Hornets. So there was a report recently saying that MJ, Michael Jordan's looking to sell his majority stake in the franchise. And it's crazy. It's funny because I saw this take by Colin Cowherd. So Jordan stans, I'm so sorry. I know this is going to rain on your parade, but this is what he had to say about MJ selling the team.
So he tried baseball. He failed. He tried ownership. He was awful. He tried the Wizards. It bombed. Everybody understand that take out Scottie Pippen and Phil Jackson, this whole Michael Jordan mythology is sort of just that. He's arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. Michael was always a bit of a selfish player. He's a bit of a selfish guy, and he's not great at building community. He's great at building wealth for Michael Jordan. That's fine. It's not a criticism. It's a reality of who Michael is.
What do you got to say about that?
I do like the take. I feel like it's just a little bit more on the harsh side. I kind of want to be fair in this just because I feel like obviously you don't know. I doubt he knows him personally. To say he's like selfish, but his actions have shown that he's one of the greatest basketball players of all time and one of the worst owners of all time. So it kind of makes sense that he's not good at building a community. I kind of get that. The selfish player, I mean, I feel like you kind of have to be that at some point if you're going to be the best player ever. You have to be selfish in some ways. So I do think the take is good and bad at the same time. It says a lot of positive things. I mean, he doesn't know him personally, so I wouldn't jump to that far. But I do think the take is good. He didn't succeed in baseball, but has balls for trying it. I mean, fucking who leaves? He's considered the greatest of all time, leaves for baseball to try a whole new sport, and then comes back and wins again. Like that in itself is amazing. So I applaud him for that. The ownership, not good at all. Hasn't done anything with the Hornets. I think they've had, since he's been owner, I think is it one or two playoff appearances?
I want to say only one.
I know it was against
when they played the Heat. So I remember that like back when they had like Al Jefferson and them back in those days. I think they were still the Bobcats at that point. But all like I don't know, man. Like I'm not saying MJ's terrible and all that. I'm just saying. I mean, Colin Cowherd didn't lie, but I don't like how he said. The only thing I don't like what he said was take out Scotty, take out Phil, and Michael Jordan would never be Michael Jordan. So like, bro, Michael Jordan was still going to be Michael Jordan regardless. It just all like, that's like saying take out Shaq, take out Pau Gasol, take out Phil Jackson. Who was Kobe really? It's like at the end of the day, no one wins by themselves. Like we saw Kobe going through those rough patch years when it was small hands, Kwame Brown, Smush Parker, like nobody's going to win by themselves. So everyone needs, if not a second star, at least a second, like not superstar, at least a second all-star, So yeah, like that's the only thing where I say Colin Cowherd was like, you're a little over the line with that. But obviously, like, he didn't lie. He didn't do well in baseball. His ownership hasn't been that well. But like, man, I'm not mad at Michael Jordan. Like, I can't remember how much he sold it for. I mean, I don't know. I think I want to say it was like 12 million or something. It was a small percentage, a small amount. Well, not small amount, millions of millions, But like compared to what he's about to sell his stake for, I'm like, this man's making dough. Like he's easily making way more than what he initially invested. So I'm like, he says Michael Jordan is great at building wealth for Michael Jordan. Man, shouldn't anyone be great at building wealth for yourself? Like, that's like, oh, wait, you built an empire for yourself? No, that doesn't mean you're the greatest or whatever, Like, sure, you're okay on the court, but all you care is about yourself. I don't care, man. Like, if I'm building wealth, I don't care. Like,
yeah.
But like you said, like he doesn't know him, and like I'm sure he doesn't. But
and then the Wizards
just
thing
an interesting take.
The Wizards thing was a little bit interesting because he was on the Wizards when he was 38 and 39 years old. So basically the same age as LeBron is now. Well, LeBron's 38, so it's the last 2 years of his career. After not playing for 3 years, he came back. And he was averaging, I think it was like 3 points and then 20 points the next season. So he was doing good. Obviously, saying it wasn't successful on the Wizards, I don't think anyone expected him to come back and carry the Wizards to a championship at that age. I think they were just more happy to see him playing. Obviously, I was very young at this time, so I don't remember all of it, but I do remember some of it when he was playing on the Wizards, and he was a great player even at 38, 39. So that part I kind of don't agree with. But as far as not good at building a community, I feel like if you're an owner, you have to be good at building community. Maybe that's why Hornets have not been great, because Michael Jordan is not good at building a community around the Hornets. And I do agree with that take, or that part of the take, very much.
Also, it's kind of hard to I would assume it's kind of nerve-wracking to play basketball when you're playing basketball for a man who's considered the greatest of all time. You know, it's all like you're never gonna live up to his expectations. Like, that's why his own son doesn't even didn't want to play basketball, because like, dude, my dad's Michael Jordan. You guys are gonna be comparing me all the time. Like we see it with Bronny and with LeBron. Like, it's not like, I don't think I feel like that's a little also part of it. Like himself being there, people being intimidated, but it's all like, I don't know, man. Sometimes people get too scared instead of just being like, "Oh my God, it's Michael Jordan. Can you teach me how to like get better at this or that?" They just, I feel like instead of that, they're like, "Shit, Michael Jordan's here. Well, come on, don't mess up, don't fuck up. Just go through the drills." Instead of trying to reach out and trying to help, using him to get better, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I like this. I just wanted to bring up this take because like it's interesting. So I know the MJ stans are gonna be coming at Colin Cowherd for this, rightfully so, because like, you know, like this, all of this came from MJ just saying, "I want to sell the team. This team sucks," essentially, and then Colin Cowherd's like, "You failed before, and I'm sure you're gonna fail again, though."
Let's rate this take. What do you think out of 10?
I'll give it a 4.5 out of. No, just kidding. I'm gonna give it at least a 5 because it was true, but I think I'll leave it at a 5 because now that you've mentioned some things, I'm like, yeah. And then now that I'm looking more into it, I'm like, yeah, I kind of don't like it. So I'll give it a 5 or 6 out of 10 just because, sure, he did fail, but Colin Cowherd did kind of reach. And I don't like how I hate when people say, take these players out and who would they have been? Because nobody, like I said earlier, no one's ever won without other stars. What about you?
Yeah, I'd say about same, like 5 or 6. I think he's trying to just say the take more as like an edgy take to get a little bit more attention on it. Like just a little, just wants a little bit more. So he's going to say something that's out of the ordinary to kind of get people to, oh, is Michael Jordan selfish? Is it because he failed at all these things? Kind of just get people listening more, say something that's edgy and maybe not even true, but a little bit controversial. So, but there's some truth in it. So same as you, about a 5. Maybe I'll give it a 6 because MJ got 6 rings, so I think a 6 rating is good.
That's the thing. It's not like it's clickbait, just trying to get headlines, trying to bring more people into like his views. But yeah, man, I'm not too mad at it. It's just the fact that he did reach.
Definitely.
But yeah, man, that's I think that's all I have. Anything else you'd like to say?
No, I just want to say appreciate you having me on. Happy late birthday. Sorry the Lakers didn't get a win for you, but you know what? I'm feeling Lakers are going to make playoffs, and I'm staying optimistic. We got a bright year next year, so I want to end on like a high note that I think we're going to make a playoff run. Do I see us competing for a championship this year? Who knows? Do I see us next year competing? 100%. So yeah.
As long as they're able to keep some of the core players of the role players. If you keep LeBron, you keep AD, you keep D'Lo, and sign a good amount of these role players, then definitely championship. Because we've seen them clicking, like we've seen them building that chemistry. So they definitely should be contending for a championship. But in the last episode, I made a bet with a Clipper fan saying that the Lakers aren't going to make the play-in. Rather, they're going to make the playoffs. Well, I don't care what the schedule says. I'm saying it. Lakers will make the playoffs. If you're watching this episode, let's see. If the Lakers don't make the playoffs, I don't have to worry about it. But if the Lakers somehow miss the playoffs, I will give you a $25 gift card to the store or restaurant of your choice. Starbucks, B-Dubs, whatever you want. I don't care. Nike, I don't care. $25 gift card if the Lakers don't make it.
If they make it?
No, if the Lakers don't make it. That's how confident I am.
Okay.
Because the Lakers will make the playoffs.
So you think they're not? Are you saying like they're gonna skip
playoffs.
the play-in? But you say they're gonna skip the play-in?
I'm saying at the end of the day, once the playoffs are ready to go, the Lakers will be in the playoffs.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I'm betting on even if they're somehow in the 10th seed, I still think they'll win the play-in. They'll win both games in the play-in to make it to the 8th seed. So I'm saying, regardless, at the end of the day, Lakers will make the playoffs.
I say I agree, and it's all on LeBron coming back. If LeBron has to be there for the play-ins,
yeah,
I think there's going to be too much pressure if LeBron's not there for the play-ins. I like our team, but I don't know. I don't trust AD. But as a Laker fan, I'm always going to root for us making playoffs. I'm always going to say we're going to make playoffs. So I will take the bet that we're making playoffs if I have to decide we're making playoffs. LeBron being reevaluated tomorrow. Fingers crossed he'll be back next week. Who knows? But we're making it.
All right. And I'm not promoting this part of the episode either. So whoever's watching it, first person, not multiple, first person to call me out if for some reason the Lakers don't win it, we'll get the gift card. All right. So I just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to come on to the podcast once again, Daniel. Back at it again with the white van. Back at it again with the white vans, but it's all good. All right. And to everybody else who supported this podcast by watching or listening to this episode, thank you for taking the time out of your day. It's greatly appreciated, and we'll see you on the very next episode of the Sports Planet podcast. Life is good. I've decided now I'm away from this violence out there.